Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Box and Elbows. I'm your host, Tyler, and today is an action packed episode because there is a lot to talk about. But first, I wanted to say I'm glad to be back. It's been a while since I did 2 episodes per week, and I know it went from 3 episodes per week to 2 episodes, and now I think with college starting soon, it being my senior year, so I have to take things more seriously. And I'm probably going to take this podcast more seriously too because it's probably going to be important for my career going forward. But I think 1 episode per week is good enough for me, and I can focus on making the episode quality, having a lot to talk about, rather than trying to jam pack 2 episodes per week and then missing an episode and then me having to do one of these apology, intros for, the episode. Um, And yeah, I'm glad to be back. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about today. There's a lot of articles to react to because Bleacher Report has been active in the offseason recently since LeBron James signed with the 76ers. And yeah, there's another article that I just found that came out today. Thank God for my emails. Emails are important. Check your emails, guys, because if you don't, you can miss something important. And I definitely would have missed that. So I'm going to go through 2 articles that I found, one from Bleacher Report and one from NBA itself. And then we're going to get into floors and ceilings of every Western Conference team. I did one for the Eastern Conference teams, and I kind of regret doing the episode where I did it. I did it at my old high school in the bleachers of the football stadium where it was completely empty. I was allowed to be there. I was not trespassing or anything like that. But it was way too hot. The wind was just affecting the episode, and it was just not a good place to do an episode because I couldn't even see my phone at full brightness with all the notes I had. And I decided to do more notes on my phone rather than writing it on my iPad. Just because I think the phone is quick access and it's easier to read, and it's easier for me to type than to write out every single note I have. So we're gonna do that as well. But yeah, I have notes for the floors and ceilings. Now, for the floors and ceilings of every Western Conference team, it's kind of hard because a lot of teams have around the same ceiling as they have floor. Like, like for the Spurs and Thunder, like their ceiling and their floor is pretty much the same. Like I'll get into it later, but like some teams, it was hard to really differentiate their floors and ceilings, and so I had to come up with some sort of indicator of what could be the difference between them, hitting their floor or their ceiling. And so we'll get into that. But first, I wanted to get into this article of Bleacher Report ranking. Hold on. There we go. Bleacher Report predicted the 30 best NBA players in 2030. All right, so the Bleacher Report predicted the 30 best NBA players in 2030, and I have not seen this entire article yet. I think I've scrolled through a little bit of it, but I haven't gone through the entire article to see every number, and so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm assuming Luke and Shea are probably top 5 in 2030 based on them being the thumbnail, and for the Bleacher Report also ranked the every starting Bleacher Report also ranked every starting 5 in the NBA after LeBron James signed with the 76ers. And I made a video on that. You guys should probably check out. It's a YouTube short, so if you're on YouTube, definitely check that out. If you're on Spotify, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel, Mr. Allen. And yeah, I post all my podcast episodes video form on there. I have video form enabled on Spotify too, but if you want to click any links or anything like that for any important stuff, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel. And if you want to be featured on the podcast where I do fan questions and interact with you guys, then definitely check out my Instagram, ty.allen81, or Boxes and Elbows Pod. You can follow both of those. And yeah, but let's just get into this list. So at number 30, oh, wow, okay. They have Paolo Banchero at number 30, even though he'll be 27. Paolo's weird because he had a disappointing season last year, and, he's a number 1 pick, so you expect better from him. and he just also hasn't had a really fully healthy season in a while. But he's also one of those like playoff risers that you can squint your eyes and he could be top 10 in a playoffs. And you know I'm surprised he's this low, considering A, he'll be 27, and B, he is a playoff riser. So some of these players, I could see him be better than in the playoffs. And yeah, it's just his talent is just crazy for him to be number 30. I know he had a disappointing season last year, but goddamn, at number 30, really? There's going to be 29 better players than Paulo Banchero in 4 years from now when he's basically going to be in the middle of his prime. That's kind of crazy. But then again, Bleacher Report, the last article, I had a lot of gripes with it, so not ruling it off the table that this could also just be rage bait at the same time. Let's see what they put. I'm surprised to see him low, but having him on the list at all is a bet on his upside. What do you mean having him on the list at all? You don't think Paolo's gonna be a top 30 player in the NBA? He's certainly top 45 now. You're telling me he can jump up 15 spots when we know players like older than him are gonna like regress? Like in 4 years from now, LeBron's not gonna be playing. He's gonna be off the list. Is Curry gonna be playing? Maybe. Durant, maybe. But like the older guys are gonna be off the list. So I don't understand how Paolo can't jump up 15 spots, especially when I hope to God the Magic put a competent team around him where he can actually make a conference finals. But I do firmly believe that last year, if Franz didn't get hurt, they probably would have made the conference finals against the Knicks. I think they would have beat the Pistons. They would have. They probably would have beat the Cavs in like 6 games because nobody believes in the Cavs anymore in the playoffs. And then the Knicks, they could have made it a competitive series. I don't think the Knicks would have blown the Magic out of the gym like completely. I think the Magic would have put up a better fight than Cleveland did at least. They probably could have gotten one game. I know it's like hindsight and the Knicks just destroyed everybody in the East, but like the matchup with the Magic and how they play defense and the way that Paolo plays, I think they could have gotten one game versus the Knicks. Paolo has played 4 NBA seasons. His team's point differential is better when he's off the floor. Okay, sure. I mean, this is one of those where you have to look at the eye test and not the numbers. Sometimes the numbers don't tell the whole story. The giveaways aren't great, but they're an expected part of the learning curve for a playmaker. There's still a good chance he develops into a dominant point forward. It'd just be nice if his first 4 years had given clearer signs that'll happen. Okay, I don't know how to feel about that. Ooh, Caleb Wilson. Wait, he's a top 4 pick, and they have him at 29. So they don't think he's gonna get. So he what? He's gonna be 23, and they have him at 29. I feel like he should be a little higher than this. This is kind of low for a top 4 pick, especially with the Bulls where they're gonna build around him, and he's gonna actually have a chance to develop the right way. And Tiago Splitter's a good development coach, and he's just a good coach in general. So I think he's going to put Caleb Wilson in the best spots for him to grow. But sure, okay. What are they saying? It's just not even close to the ideal environment for evaluating a player's ups. Oh, they're talking about Summer League. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, we've only seen him in Summer League, so it's actually kind of hard to tell what he's going to be like 4 years from now because we only have what like Summer League sample size of him playing against somewhat NBA talent. So we'll see. I think this list will be completely different in like a couple months, maybe even like yeah, no, this list will be completely different. J Dub. Okay, he'll be 29. Will he be well, he's already better than Paolo now. I think this might be right for J Dub, not gonna lie. Especially since we don't know what the Thunder team is gonna look like 4 years from now. Like they have a lot of guys they have to pay and keep paid and try to keep this roster intact. And it's interesting, is he like are they gonna keep the big three of him, Shea and Chet together in 2030, or like are they going to be on the same team? Like if I were the Thunder, I would say maybe well, obviously Hartenstein is the odd man out in the starting lineup, but between him and Chet, would Chet be the odd man out? Or would I feel like I don't know. Cuz Chet has been disappointing. Like even the championship run that they had, he didn't have a good run. It's just so happened that Shea was just that good and Jada was just that good that Chet's deficiencies were overlooked. But yeah, that whole playoff run, he couldn't hit a three. He was really good defensively, and he'll always be really good defensively. But offensively, there's just more to be desired from Chet, and he just hasn't shown. Like he's had flashes, but he hasn't shown a full, like consistent run of being good offensively. So I don't know. And yeah, he has had injuries, so hopefully those hamstring injuries don't bother him for the rest of his career. Number 27, Stephon Castle. He'll be 25, and there will be 26 better players than Stephon Castle. These players are going to be so young, and they have the. I don't understand. Like, what could they possibly know about Castle to where he'll be 25, and he'll probably be the start with the. Like, him and Harper are going to be the starting backcourt by this time, for sure. Fox is going to be gone. And they don't. I mean, I imagine they have Harper above him, but like, is the gap between him and Harper that big? Like, I think Harper is gonna be top 15 at least by this time. Do they not? Do they not see Castle as a top 20 player? Like I do in 4 years. I certainly do. I think he'll mature. This finals has taught him a lot that he just needs to stop turning the ball over, be more not be so aggressive on defense, and just you know take what the defense gives him. He did have a really good couple of games against the Knicks, but in terms of like his ball handling ability and his IQ, just wasn't there. But I think he'll definitely grow after this finals. I think the whole Spurs team will grow for sure. And it's good that they have Tobias Harris coming in as a vet. That's huge for them. And his superstar upside depends on whether he develops a consistent jumper. I feel that he doesn't hit threes. Like he hit that one timely three against the Knicks, but in game 3 of the finals. But other than that, it's like the Knicks just give him open shots and he just doesn't make them. Uh, there's a far from a guarantee that trend will continue. Could start contending for all NBA nods. So if he's contending for all NBA nods, that probably means he's a top 15 player in the league, but you have him at 27. Make that make sense. Franz Wagner. So they have Franz ahead of Paolo, 4 spots ahead of Paolo. They have him being better than Castle in 4 years. I just don't agree with that at all. Like Franz is great. His defense is really good. And his offense is also like he's a good cutter, good play finisher. Creating for himself, still has to work on that. But we saw what he did against Cade in that playoff series. But as of today, I would still say Paolo's better than Franz. And I just don't think that the jump that Franz can take will be bigger than the jump that Paolo can take. But he's been the better of Orlando's star forwards over the last 4 years. I just disagree with that. I think Paolo's been better. Maybe Franz has been more impactful, but does that mean he's a better player? That's like a very fine line. Injuries and inconsistent 3-point shot are very real concerns, but not to the degree Wagner can be kept out of the top 30. See, if Franz was like 28, and wait, who was 28? Yeah, if Franz was 28 and Paulo's 30, I'd be okay with that. But 4 spots, I mean, 4 spots is also just not that big of a gap either. But I don't know. Because Paul's also just going to be younger anyway. Like, he's still going to be in the middle of his prime. Franz at 29, with his injury history, we don't know what he's going to look like at 29. I just. It's a very weird list so far, for sure. Khan Knipple. Is this too low for Khan? I feel like Khan could be a top 5, 6 shooting guard in the league in 2030. And if you're top 5 in your position, that probably means you're top 20. So I just don't know if 25 is accurate. Really good rookie season, though. What are they saying? But Knipple also has some playmaking upside, and while he's not likely ever to compete for all defense nods, he has the size and know-how to at least be passable on that end. So they're talking about his defense. So they're not really talking down on him at all. In fact, they are. See, this is what I don't understand. Bleacher Report is contradicting itself because it's saying if he shows even moderate development in some of his lower tier skills, which he will, we know he will, he could develop into a top 20 player. I just said that, and that they have him at 25. Like they're just contradicting themselves at this point. Like we know he's gonna develop his lower tier skills. Defense is gonna be better. He's gonna be a better playmaker. He's kind of forced to be on this team because no LaMelo anymore. So I just don't understand their logic in this number ranking. But 24 Jalen Brunson. Somehow this feels wrong and right at the same time. Like you know what I mean? Like him being this low feels right because of his age, and he does take a lot of contact during games. And while he's been healthy for most of his career, it's gonna be on a decline. Like it's inevitable. He's gonna have some injuries, and he's gonna be 33. And yeah, I this feels about right. Now it's crazy because Jalen Brunson is like top 10 in the league right now, and so for him to drop off 14 spots in 4 years might seem like a little stretch. But I just mentioned that he does get bruises and bangs, and he plays a very bully style of basketball where he takes hits all the time, so that could affect how much of an injury history he has in the future. Knocking on wood that he doesn't, because he's my king. He's the king of New York, so we need him to stay healthy for every single playoff run until the end of his career. But Bleacher Report is being realistic. We just witnessed Chris Paul remain very effective well into his 30s, and similarly built Brunson could do the same. Yeah, that's about right. Chris Paul has injuries in his 30s. Brunson might. Chris Paul was still effective. He still led a team to the finals. So this seems accurate. I would say this seems like the most accurate one so far. Evan Mobley. I forgot about Evan Mobley. Not gonna lie, and he's gonna be 30. Is he gonna be better than Brunson in 4 years? I don't know because we always want this offensive jump from him, and he just doesn't give it to us. Like I thought he would be in the conference finals against the Knicks. I thought he would abuse the Cat matchup or even an OG matchup. Maybe not abuse because OG's a good defender and Cat still has size on him, but I thought Mobley would be more aggressive. And in game one, he was like, that was the best Mobley I've ever seen, like in the playoffs. And it just so happened that they blew a 22-point lead. But after that, his confidence was just shot. He didn't do anything for the rest of the series. And he hasn't done anything in the playoffs, really. Like, we want him to, take the pressure off Donovan Mitchell, and he just hasn't. Increased playmaking volume is another potential source of improvement. Yes. Like, I think he can be, like, a point forward, like kind of how Cat was at the top of the key where he was making reads, but if you put a smaller defender on him, he'll just drive past him or post him up and abuse him. I think that's what Mobley could be. He could be that. Now, will he be that? We don't know. He does have a DPOY too, which is unfortunate because it'll be his only DPOY of his career because Wemby exists. But interesting to see Mobley at 23 though. Alperen Şengün. Uh, I think in 4 years, Jalen Brunson will be better than Şengün. Not gonna lie. I think Paolo will be better than Şengün in 4 years. Not gonna lie. I don't know. My Şengün stock is just very low at the moment. The playoffs, actually, the past two playoffs, he just hasn't been good. And he's just one of those players that's just frustrating to watch because he tries to draw fouls, and that's what every player tries to do. They try to draw fouls, but like his try to draw fouls is him. It's like Embiid when he just falls on the floor and flops and yells at the refs and doesn't actually try to make the shot. And he also just doesn't play defense either. Like I just yeah, 27, still young, and he will be better. But my stock on Şengün is just very low at the moment, and I think some of the players below him are going to be better than him. But that's just a personal opinion. Bleacher Report obviously has the numbers and whatever to back it up. So, but there's Şengün could take a little bit. Yeah, he also turns the ball over a lot too for someone who has the ball in his hands a lot. Um, Defensive mobility may never get better, but his awareness can. Yeah, defense is always going to be a thing with him. Amen Thompson right above. This seems right. If I'm telling you, if Amen actually shoots league average from three, he could be a top 15 player in the league for sure. Like the defense is always going to be there. The athleticism is off the charts. If he develops, let's say he even shoots like 33% from three, but he knocks down mid ranges, he pulls up for mid ranges, and he knocks them down with confidence. He could still be a top 15 player in the league. If he, like, just jump shots in general, like, that's all we're asking from him. If he does that, he's a really good player. Yeah, his athleticism is off the charts, can be genuinely shocking. Yeah, him and Asar are going to be really good. Now it makes me think, is Asar going to be ahead of him now? I think Amen has more of an offensive package than Asar does. Because Amen averaged 18 last year. Asar only averaged like 10. And both teams lack like spacing and shooting, and it's kind of crazy that they're both in the same boat. But Amen is, I think today is Amen is better. But Asar's defense is better though than Amen. But they're both really good at defense. At number 20, you have Chet, 28-year-old Chet. I think if he ever, if Chet, if the stock on Chet is ever lower than it can be, it is right now because he just went up against Wemby and he was afraid and he only took 4 shots in a game 7 of the conference finals. And it was just very frustrating it was frustrating to watch him in the conference finals, to be honest. Like, full series, it was just frustrating to watch. And we project him to be healthy next year. We project Jalen Williams and AJ Mitchell to be healthy. And so Chet won't be asked to do what he doesn't want to do. But in order for them to win another championship, though, he has to get over the hump of Wemby because he's going to have to face Wemby regardless the next, like, at minimum 2 to 3 years. So he's going to have to bulk up. He's going to have to actually face Wemby. And 20 seems about right for Chet because defensively, he's always going to be, like, top 2, top 3 in DPOY behind Wemby every year because he's just that good defensively. And yeah, he needs to speed up delivery. This is so funny because you watch Chet and his delivery to shoot is so slow. He takes his time to shoot. Like, his load up for his shot is so slow that sometimes it can just get blocked by taller players like Wemby or B, it just doesn't look like it's going in because he has such a long time to shoot that thing. And it just looks kind of ugly, not gonna lie. If he does that while maintaining his consistency, all around defender, 20 top 20. Yeah, is Chet top 20 now? Uh, Maybe. I'd say like closer to 25 than 20. Danny Avdia is so high. What the heck? This is high for Denny. He had a good season last year, but higher than Chet, higher than Jalen Brunson. Like, I know he's gonna progress. Obviously, every player hopefully progresses. I wouldn't say it's guaranteed that every player on this list progresses into what Bleacher Report says they would, but I don't know, man. Danny being a top 20 player in 2030 is kind of crazy, I would say. Um, and his defense needs to be better. If he can recapture his jump shooting, yeah, it's weird because when he was with Washington, he was almost a 40% 3-point shooter, and then as soon as he got to Portland, it went down to 30%. He's obviously taking less threes in Portland because he wants to get downhill. They call him Downhill Denny for a reason. But and they're comparing him to LeBron James. Okay, cool. Jalen Johnson. Uh, See, Jalen Johnson is an interesting player to rank because he has a talent to be top 20, obviously, but in that playoff series and just in close games with the Hawks, crucial games with the Hawks, when the ball's in Jalen Johnson's hands, he just genuinely doesn't know how to create for himself. Like, he'll create for others, but creating his own shot, and he's just not good at that yet. And if you're not good at creating your own shot, I don't think you can be top 20, right? Like, every player in the top 20 is either really great on defense to where the offense kind of balances out, or offensively they're gifted in a way where they can create their own shot at a high level or create for others, or both. And Jalen Johnson can only create for others at a high level, but he can't create for himself. Hmm. And he'll always be like a triple double watch guy because he like I said, he assists at a crazy rate. He's gonna get his 20. He's gonna get his 10 rebounds because he's a power forward. But top 20, is he gonna be better than Chet in 4 years? I don't know. I don't know about that. Who's number 19? Damn, they really squeezed Danny in there, bro. Having a forward like Johnson who can shut down the opposing star. Okay, but who did he exactly shut down against the Knicks? He certainly didn't shut down OG Anunoby, which was his assignment probably, because OG literally had games where he was like 29 points, 26 points. Like, OG had a crazy series against the Hawks, and they're talking about this guy shutting down the opposing star. You can't even shut down a borderline star. Definitely didn't shut down Jalen Brunson. So I don't know what they mean by shut down the opposing star. Maybe that's just one series, and I'm biased, of course. So maybe I need to slow down a little bit, but we're already nitpicking Taylor. Okay. Tatum. Oh, that makes sense. He's going to be the same age as Brunson. And he's better than Brunson, but he's also coming off the major surgery. And for him to be top 20 is still great for a player of his caliber. This is another ranking that might cause fans of Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, or even Karl-Anthony Towns. Oh, yeah. I better see Devin Booker on this list. I really do. I hope I see Devin Booker on this list. Not only is he one of my favorite players, but he also just hasn't shown any decline. Every year he's been in the league, he's either gotten better at something. Like, I don't know how he can be left off a top 30 list in 4 years from now when, what, Devin Booker will probably be like 34, right around the same age as Jalen Brunson. How old is Devin Booker? Um, Actually, let me look that up. How old is Devin Booker? He's got to be like 34, right? How old is Devin Booker? Oh, he's 29 now. So in 4 years, he'll be 30. He'll be 33. He'll be the same age as Tatum. And he's not on this list. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, major surgery from Tatum. And he might not be the same player he was even 2 years ago, which is unfortunate because Tatum is one of those players where he'll never be an MVP winner, but he'll always be like in the top 7, top 8 for MVP because he's just that good. But it's unfortunate that guys around him are just better. And we'll see what the Celtics look like in 4 years because Paul George is going to be off the team by then. We don't know what they'll do with Derek White. Mitchell Robinson is on a 4-year deal now, or 3-year deal, or 4-year deal. Kata, I think, just signed a 4-year deal. Pritchard, they might extend. So we'll see what this team looks like in 4 years. It might just be Tatum. Maybe they could get another star. Maybe they could. I wouldn't say that. I don't think they would flip Paul George. That would just be pointless. Tyrese Halliburton. I kind of forgot about him. Not gonna lie. But yeah, this seems accurate. Halliburton could be a top 20 player in 4 years. I mean, that playoff run just 2 years ago, we saw what kind of player he can be, especially in clutch moments. So this is no surprise. He's also coming off a major surgery. So him being one spot ahead of Tatum is not that crazy. And I don't think there's really much where Tyrese can improve, to be honest. Like he's a good shooter, great passer. He defense, yeah, but guards, you never really asking them to improve that much on defense. Maybe just don't be an absolute cone like Luka. But I don't think Tyrese plays the passing lane, so and he still gets steals and whatnot, so he's still respectable defensively. There we go. Said it earlier. Top 15, Dylan Harper. So there's 12 spots in between Dylan Harper and Castle, and they're on the same team. But then again, the Spurs have three. The Spurs have 3 top 30 players, and they're gonna be insane, bro. If Wemby got this money, I wonder what Harper's money is gonna look like, bro. Because he's so good. He was literally the only player in the finals that I actually feared, like as a Knicks fan. Like I didn't even fear Wemby because I knew Cat was handling his ass. But Dylan Harper, we had legit no answer for whatsoever. Like you would put OG on him, he would just somehow be stronger than OG Anunoby and drive. If you put Bridges on him, Bridges is too small. It's just Bridges isn't too small, but he's like Dylan Harper's just stronger. His will to get to the basket is insane, like genuinely insane. And if he shoots, like Dylan Harper's like one of those players, like a Men Thompson, where if he shoots 35, 36% from three, he might be the greatest player of all time. Like genuinely. Like 15, if he shoots 30, if Dylan Harper shoots 37% from three, this 15 goes to like an 8 in an instant. 14, Giannis. Why did I forget about Giannis? See, a lot of these players I'm just genuinely forgetting about. Because, yeah, Giannis will be 35 in 4 years. And he'll still be really good. He'll be on the Heat still. And he'll probably still be competing, but... yeah. Because Giannis also has injury history. And it might only get worse for him the older he gets. The play style that he has. Him just genuinely punching his way to the rim. It's those lower leg injuries that'll cause him to decline for sure. Scotty Barnes. Yes. Scotty Barnes start. My Scotty Barnes. Wow, I can't speak. My Scotty Barnes stock is definitely rising by the day, to be honest. Like once this Kawhi shit clears and he's on the team with Kawhi, my God, his stock will be at an all time high. Defensively, he's just an absolute monster. He covers like the entire like court defensively. He can guard 1 through 5 really well. Offensively, he's a slasher. He's a playmaker. Like his potential is crazy. I kind of want to see the 19 finally reach 20. Maybe he'll average 20 this season. I have no idea. Because there are a lot of mouths to feed in Toronto now with Kawhi potentially. And the difference between Kawhi and Brandon Ingram is very, very big. AJ DeMonsa. Yeah, I could see it. Number 1 pick. They're comparing him to like Kobe Bryant or whatever. Tracy McGrady. Yeah, seems about right. Especially with Trae Young still being on the team with that ugly ass 4-year, $200 million contract extension. So he'll be spoon feeding AJ pretty much the entirety of those 4 years. So Darren Peterson, yeah, I think Darren Peterson probably should have gone number 1 over AJ. Maybe that's a hot take. Probably is. But the Wizards had their eyes set on AJ anyway, so. Um. Um. So, Bleacher Report, you kind of lost me here. Um. LaMelo Ball, top 10 player in the NBA in 4 years. Um. Uh. This one kind of hurts. Ah. Ah. Now, granted, he is on a winning team now. He will be in the playoffs next year, so he could genuinely just go crazy in the playoffs, and that could be the reason why he's this far up. I hope that's the reason, because if it's not, I just don't understand any possibility where LaMelo Ball is better than Scotty Barnes in 4 years. But is that just me? Or is that y'all too? Like, please comment down below, please. Someone tell me what I'm missing here. Especially the injury history too. Like, how many games do we think LaMelo is gonna play in 4 years? I hope to, like, knock on wood, I hope to God he's healthy all 4 years. I hope he's healthy for the rest of his career, because I'm not wishing injuries on anybody. But my God, for him to be top 10, you definitely lost me there, Bleacher Report. Definitely lost me there. Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, I can't say they're wrong. Tyrese is gonna be that guy. At least for the next 2 years, he's gonna have LeBron James and on his team. So he'll definitely gain a lot of knowledge about winning and, that sort of stuff. And then those 2 years after that, it's going to be him, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid, because that Joel Embiid contract goes into effect now, I think. Which is another nasty contract, by the way. His contract and Trae Young's contract might be the nastiest contracts in the league, not gonna lie. Yeah, Tyrese, really good player. Cameron Boozer. Okay, I'm glad Bleacher Report is on the same wavelength as me, because I think I even said this on one of my posts, and I did a video on this, that Cameron Boozer is the most NBA ready player out of the whole like draft, and that his stock should be higher because he's number 3 pick, and his defense is going to be really good, especially next to Zach Edey. That front court is going to be absolutely nasty. And offensively, he's just the most polished player. Like, you really have no question marks about his game. Whereas AJ, you have question marks about his defense. Darren Peterson, you have question marks about his, overall like efficiency. And Boozer, you have no question marks. He's gonna be efficient. He still shoots the three at a good clip, even though in summer league he couldn't hit a single three for whatever reason. But he said he's not worried about it, so that's good. And he rebounds well, passes well. He's gonna be a really, really good player in 4 years. And he's only gonna be 22. Bro's gonna be my age right now. He's gonna be in 4 years. That's kind of crazy. Cade. Okay, I like this. Cade is that guy for sure. In the playoffs, could be better. This playoffs was way better than the playoff series against the Knicks 2 years ago. Um, and I just wish he had more help to at least make the conference finals, because that would have boosted his stock a little bit too, being that far into the playoffs in what is like fourth year. Cooper Flag, Cooper Flag. Yes, this is accurate. I thought he was gonna be top five, but I think so. That means they have Jokic still in the top five. So that means Devin Booker's not even on this list at all. Interesting. So they probably have Jokic. If I had to guess the top five, maybe not in order, it'd be Wemby, Shea, Luca, and Jokic. That has to be the top five, right? They still have to have Jokic in the top five, I would assume. Cooper Flag, yeah, yeah. Hopefully his 3-point shot comes around. If he shoots league average from three, he'll be all right. Yeah, I don't know. I think the experiment from Jason Kidd putting him at the point was cool, and it was effective because now he has experience with the ball in his hands, and Kyrie comes back, so he's not gonna have the ball as much. But that was just a weird time period of Jason Kidd saying, "Yeah, we'll just throw Cooper Flag at the point guard position, and we'll let him figure it out." And then Jason Kidd's no longer the coach on the team. I think anybody who was around when Luka got traded is gone, except for the players. Like the whole roster is essentially still there, except for like imagine Luka and Cooper Flag together. That would be nasty. Oh, they'd be favorites in the West for sure. They'd be up there with the Spurs if they had Luka, Kyrie, and Flag. Shit, they might even be better than the Spurs. Not gonna lie. Okay, there we go. Anthony Edwards. It seems like every year he just gets better as a career year. I thought the 2 years ago when he set the record for threes in the season or whatever, I thought that was gonna be his best overall year. Nope, he just got better. And he's gonna continuously get better. He might average. I don't think he's gonna average 30 this year because now he has a point guard who can actually score. Maybe he will average 30 because now he has a point guard who can pass. I don't know. He might average 30. And yeah, they're comparing to Michael Jordan. I still don't know why those comparisons. Like, yeah, sure. Does he look like Michael Jordan? Yeah. Is he a shooting guard like Michael Jordan? Yeah. Is his game like Michael Jordan? Kind of not really. Jokic. So they have Jokic at 4 at 35 and Giannis at 14 at 35. But Jokic doesn't get injured and his game translates well every single year. Like he's just one of those guys where he doesn't do anything to get himself injured anyway. Like he plays so slow, he plays like with no effort. Like he could be 34, 35 and still be winning MVPs. That's how good he is. And he doesn't rely on athleticism either. Three is Shea. Okay, so they have Luca too. Okay. Yeah, I think Luca will be better because he'll be younger. And while Shea doesn't get injured like Luca does have an injury history, especially the past 2 years. I think Luca will be better in 4 years, personally. Hopefully, the Lakers put a team around Luca where he can actually make the finals like he did with the Mavs. Yeah. And then number 1 is Wembanyama. No surprises here at all. Honestly, the top 5 is exactly who I thought the top 5 would be. I think Cooper Flag will be maybe ahead of Jokic uh, sooner rather than later. But yeah, I kind of agree with this. Foot cramp. LaMelo at top 10 just seems wrong on all accounts. Everything else from this list I kind of agree with for the most part. Like they're not too far off. I think the LaMelo one is just absolutely like bonkers. But yeah, good list. The NBA also released a list where they rank the power ranking. They have their power rankings for the Eastern Conference next year, and I kind of want to go through this as well. Offseason power rankings, Knicks lead the way in the East as they should. They just won the championship and dominated the Eastern Conference in the playoffs, so they should be number 1. This is a quick recap. Of all the moves that Eastern Conference teams made. Yeah, number 1, New York Knicks. They had an offensive rating, 4th in the league, 7th in defense, 5th in net rating, and their net rating came from that one stretch when they were like really, really good in the regular season. And they won 53 games. Not out of their own possibility that the Knicks could win 60 games next year. Definitely not out of their own possibility. And their number 1 is baseball playoffs, obviously. Number 2 is the Sixers. That makes sense. They had A+ offseason, by the way. Getting in Jaylen Brown, LeBron, Dean Wade is sneakily an underrated off-season signing. Simon's good piece off the bench. Man, they were 17th in defense last year. Damn, that's kind of crazy. And they had a negative net rating. Wow. Okay. The Cavs. That's crazy. That's insane. That's actually... I wish I didn't see that, actually. Makes sense, though. Cavs were just in the conference finals. I think the Pacers should be up here. Maybe they're 5. Raptors make sense, but we don't know because Kawhi Leonard's still not on the team yet. And once we can't really judge this team if Kawhi's not on the team yet. And I just saw a report that this investigation with Kawhi could go on until 2027, which is insane. Like, I just don't know. Like, I know they're trying to find a smoking gun, but god damn, this is taking way too long. And it's holding up players like Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick. Like, screw Kawhi Leonard. Like, what? I mean, not screw him, but I don't feel bad for him. I mean, I do if he's just completely innocent, which I think he might be. But for Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick, it's like they just want to be on their team. Like, they just want to know where they're going to live. Pistons are at number 5. They went from number 3 to number 2 to number 5. See, I think the Celtics should also be up here as well. They lost Tobias Harris. Caris LeVert you don't really care about. Isaiah Stewart was kind of unplayable in the playoffs, and he had some issues with the team, chemistry, whatever. They were number 2 in defense, so their defense is still going to be really good. Isaiah Joe was a really good pickup for them, like an underrated pickup. He's a 40% three-point shooter for his career, and so they definitely needed that. Celtics, number 6, makes sense. They're still going to have a competent roster around Jason Tatum. Paul George fits the system perfectly. Hopefully Derek White has a better season. He had a really bad season last year. Pacers, yeah. 14 spots. Yeah, they were just really bad last year. Injuries and whatnot. But overall, they were just really bad. And the Pacers are never really going to be a top 10 defense, but if they're at least competent defensively, we know what their offensive capabilities are going to be. Miami Heat, number 8. So, if this were the standings, the Knicks would face the Miami Heat in the first round of the playoffs. It would be the Knicks versus the Heat, the 76ers versus the Pacers, the Celtics versus the Cavs. I think I would choose the Celtics in that series. 4-5 Raptors Pistons. That could go 7 games realistically. Yeah, makes sense. Got Giannis, Hardaway Jr., which was huge because they don't have any spacing outside of Hardaway right now. And Bobby Portis, we know he'll come off the bench and be productive as well. The Hawks at number 9. See, they had the Hawks. I don't understand. Well, this is the NBA, not Bleacher Report, but Bleacher Report had the Hawks as a top 8 starting 5 in the league, and I just thought that was blasphemous. Like, I didn't understand what their logic was for that. Like, yeah, second half of the season they were really good, but they also just got curb stomped in Game 6 against the Knicks, and we just know that they're not going to have that sort of stretch of basketball for an entire season next year. So, seemed a little unrealistic for them to be at number 8. And yeah, we don't know where Kuminga's gonna go. They're obviously not gonna re-sign him, but are they gonna do a sign and trade and get something back for him? I have no idea. Aaron Wiggins and Lou Dort, big. I mean, not big off-season signings, but critical though. Magic at number 10 makes sense. Yeah. Oh, I forgot they got Vucevic. Does that do anything for them? No, not really. Sean Sweeney might do something. He was just in the finals last year, so he has finals experience. That'll be interesting. The Hornets. At number 11 makes sense. Yeah, this is right about where I would have them. It's unfortunate because they just had a really good season last year, and so now you're projecting them to be out of the play-in essentially, which kind of sucks. The Wizards, they could jump up on this list. They could be better. If you told me the Wizards had a better season than the Magic, I wouldn't be surprised. Bulls, yeah. Nets, and then Bucks. Yep, this all makes sense. I have no notes, really. Alright, so those are the lists that I wanted to get into, and now we're going to get into floors and ceilings of every Western Conference team. But before we do that, I'm going to take a water break. Because I've been talking for an hour and no water. I obviously need water. It's funny because I always eat like right before I do an episode, and then I end up like 35 minutes in, I always get hungry again for some reason. Maybe talking for an hour really makes me want to eat. Um yeah, I didn't go in order of the standings. I just kind of went in a random order for this list if I can find it. So 13. Okay. Yeah, so let's start off with the Jazz. So their floor for next year, I think, is gonna be right outside the play-in. Like at their absolute worst, I think they'll be right outside the play-in. I think the West is still a bloodbath, even though everyone's saying the East is a bloodbath now. The West still has a lot of good teams, and a lot of teams improved in the West that you may not have thought of. Like the Jazz improved, whether it was this off season or in general. During the trade deadline, they got Jaren Jackson Jr., so they'll be competent. But they might, for their floor, I put they might go 0-8 against San Antonio OKC combined. I just don't see how they beat San Antonio once this season. Maybe they catch, like, in the NBA season is so weird because you can catch the Spurs in an off night where, like, Wemby either doesn't play or shits the bed for some reason, and the Jazz might get a win on a random Tuesday night. But as of right now, fully healthy, I think they might go 0-8 against both San Antonio and OKC combined, which is already 8 losses on the season. And their defense, I question a little bit because on their starting lineup, prediction that Bleacher Report put out. They had Nurkic starting and not Ace Bailey starting at the three. And if Nurkic is leading your backline defense, I have questions about that. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr. is still going to be in the starting lineup no matter what. Whether he's starting at the 5 or the 4, we don't know. And his defense is going to be really impactful for this Jazz team. But who is Keontae George really guarding? Lauri Markkanen doesn't really play defense. He just has size. Darren Peterson doesn't play defense. Ace Bailey can be a good defender. He has the tools to be, but we don't know. And so their defense might be a little questionable. We know what their offense can be. Their offense is going to be really exciting between Keontae George and Darren Peterson. That's going to be a dynamic backcourt. Will Hardy is a really good offensive coach, so we'll see. And full season of Lauri Markkanen, by the way, too. And Jaren Jackson Jr. We'll see all 4 of those players play at the start of the season. We'll see what they look like. And their ceiling is first round exit. Unfortunately, I don't see them getting past the first round. They're probably going to be like in 7th or 8th seed if they get out of the play-in. And so they're probably going to face San Antonio or OKC in the first round. And they're just not winning that series. Like there's no world where they beat OKC or San Antonio 4 times out of 7. Like, if that happens, the world might be ending, legitimately. They do have size, though, like I mentioned. Nurkic is still a lot of size in the front court. So is Jaren Jackson Jr., even though he doesn't like to rebound for whatever reason. And Lauri Markkanen is like almost 7 foot. And Ace Bailey's a really tall player as well. So they have size. The Suns, see, they lost 2 key rotational players in Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, which for Miles Bridges, I didn't really like that trade at all. And they did get Luke Kennard, though. So you bring in Luke Kennard and Miles Bridges, you lose Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, who were both 40% three-point shooters. And were just really good last year in general. Both had really good years. So I just don't understand the Miles Bridges trade. I had their floor being the play-in 9-10. I think at absolute worst with Devin Booker and Jalen Green on the roster and Mark Williams, they could be a play-in team at their worst. And they're one of those teams where they have a lot of talent, but they also have no talent at the same time. Like, by a lot of talent, I mean, like, Devin Booker is obviously Devin Booker. Jalen Green can still hoop. Miles Bridges, whatever we think about Miles Bridges, he can still average 18 to 20 a night. Mark Williams, when healthy, is a really good center. So, yeah, they have a lot of talent. But at the same time, in the Western Conference, when you have starting lineups that are just straight up better than the Suns, then you compare that talent and you're like, that's not really a lot of talent, considering. And their health, I mean, Jalen Green didn't play a lot last year. Mark Williams pretty much never plays. Actually, Mark Williams had a relatively healthy season last year, but then he got hurt at the wrong time. I mean, they wouldn't have beat OKC anyway, but having Mark Williams definitely would have helped a little bit. And so, yeah, he was out down the stretch of the season. And, yeah, their health is always just going to be in question. First round exit is their ceiling, mainly because of Devin Booker. Devin Booker is just that good. They might be a 7th seed at best. And at 7, you're going to face the 2 seed, which is most likely going to be San Antonio or OKC. Like, a lot of these teams are going to be first round exits because if you're in the play-in tournament, you're just not going to win your first round because you're going to go against OKC or San Antonio in the first round. And there's no team that's going to be that low in the standings that can even compete with OKC or San Antonio, not going to lie. Like, some miracle would have to happen for that to happen. And Jordan Ott had a really good year last year. I think he should have been in the Coach of the Year candidacy, which he probably was, but he was just really good last year. He bought a Suns team that we all thought was going to decline, especially losing Kevin Durant. And they were better than they were with Kevin Durant the year prior. So he's a really good coach. I like him. The Rockets. they're kind of a weird team because Fred doesn't solve everything, you know? Like he's coming back, right? And the offense is obviously going to be better. They're going to have an actual playmaker on the floor, and Amen Thompson's not going to run point guard, but I don't think Fred solves every issue that they had. And I think their floor is first round exit, like last year. Like if they were going against the Lakers again in the first round, I and you're telling me Luka's actually playing this time, I think I would take the Lakers over the Rockets personally. Um, and Durant, despite what we know about Durant still being this dominant at this age, he's still gonna be 1 year older. So you just like you can never fully guarantee that he's gonna have a whole year of playing, and yeah, he's gonna be 38, so you can't guarantee anything at 38. And then I put here chemistry because it seems like the players did not like each other last year, especially Jabari Smith Jr. and the whole Durant burner thing. And Durant having a burner is always going to be on the forefront of any team, like any team that Kevin Durant's on. They're always going to have question marks about his burners, and it's kind of funny because on OKC the burners never really, materialized anything until like recently. So kind of weird there. They did get Marcus Smart though. That addition is pretty cool. Um, and their ceiling for me would be second round exit. I think they could like the series against the Lakers, like today, if they went against the Lakers, like I just said, if it was like a 4 or 5 matchup, there's a world where the Rockets win that series. Maybe not easily, but there's a world where they win that series and then they just get curb stomped by San Antonio OKC. I'm telling you guys, the gap between OKC and San Antonio versus the rest of the West is like so great that like if those two aren't in the conference finals, I'd be like genuinely shocked. Like I would be like I'd be like, what the hell happened? And then yeah, Steven Adams is also gonna be back, so that helps with their rebounding because my God, against the Lakers, for some reason they just couldn't rebound at all, and their defense will be better with Steven Adams as well. So getting Fred back and Steven Adams back definitely does help this team, and hopefully Kevin Durant actually plays in the playoffs this year. Last year he didn't play at all. Like he played for that one game, and they still ended up losing that game. I think that was game 2. Yeah, game 2. The Nuggets haven't done anything this offseason, which I'm like, are you going to do something? Oh, yeah, they signed Spencer. They matched the offer sheet on Spencer Jones to not let him go to OKC. That was their one move this offseason. Legitimately, their only move. They haven't done anything. And so their offseason was really disappointing, especially after the rumors that they were going to trade somebody, whether it was Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, maybe trying to get off the Christian Brown contract, which seems like impossible because I don't know how they paid him that much money and not Peyton Watson. And now they're going to have to do a sign and trade with Peyton Watson. And what money is that going to be because teams don't have money to throw out there anymore. So I don't know. And their defense is just gonna be really like questionable. It was in the postseason last year. It still is because we don't know. Is Aaron Gordon gonna be healthy for an entire year, entire playoffs? Is Jamal Murray not gonna be an absolute like liability on defense like he was the last 2 years? Like honestly, they should have just kept Westbrook. Like I don't know why they didn't keep Westbrook. He was really good for them that whole season. Kind of sucks. Their floor, by the way, I didn't say this, but their floor is first round exit like it was this past year. Which they're still going to be a higher seed, so I don't know how they lost in the first round last year against the Wolves, especially with Anthony Edwards with the hyperextended knee, and then DiVincenzo going out with the ACL or Achilles, and then I would assume missing games. Like their whole team was just gone, and the Nuggets still found a way to lose that series. Very disappointing. And they were my team too. Like I literally, so like in 2022 when they faced the Warriors, I was like, okay, bet they don't have Porter Jr. Once they get Porter Jr. back healthy, and they have an actual starting five of Murray, KCP, or they got KCP in the offseason, I think, after that year. Or was he on? I don't remember. Anyway, I was saying that the Nuggets could win the NBA championship if they got Porter back, because I thought that the duo between Jokic and Murray was just that good. And adding Porter Jr. was just going to be like the cherry on top, and they were going to be really good. And then they won the championship after that. I can pull up the YouTube comment. I don't remember what YouTube video was on, but it was definitely before their championship where I kind of called it. And so their ceiling is always going to be NBA champions as long as Jokic is on the roster. Because Murray, I don't know. Is he going to be on the team in 3 years? Who knows? His contract is also going to be pretty much untradeable as well. You're going to have to, like, a team's going to have to gut their roster to take on Jamal Murray's contract. But as long as you have that duo, they're going to be in contention for a title. And healthy Aaron Gordon is key. If they actually have a healthy Aaron Gordon, it's not out of the realm possibility they can beat OKC or San Antonio in a series. Like, they can. It's just, are they going to be healthy? Are they going to have a competent defense? Those two things need to happen. If they're healthy and a competent defense, they can beat San Antonio. Like, Jokic is that good. They could be OKC. Jokic is that good. But we just need to see more from this team defensively and health-wise. They just need to be healthy. The Mavs. I thought their floor would be lottery pick. Because while they can't get a top... Wait, what the Mavs shows... Who did the Mavs draft? No, the Mavs drafted out of the top 5 this year, I think. Yeah, they did. So they could get a top 5 pick this year. If they really wanted to. But for same reason, I had the Jazz. The West is just so good that even with Kyrie coming back, and you're going to have Derek Lively hopefully come back, and so their whole team is going to be fully healthy and ready to go. And they still have a new coach to get acclimated with this team, Dusty May. So there's just a lot of question marks with this team, and I'm going to take the teams that with the least amount of question marks over the Mavs right now. And one of their biggest question marks is, what is Kyrie going to look like? Just came off an ACL injury. Thought he might play towards the end of the season, but then they had nothing to play for, so it didn't make sense to bring him back. And apparently LeBron wanted to play with Kyrie and AD, so Kyrie obviously still has something left in the tank for sure. But we just don't know, and we can't project until we actually see him on the court. And their ceiling, surprisingly, I had first round exit again. If they make it out the play-in, I'm going to get curb stomped by the 2 Giants. Cooper Flag is going to get better, and he's probably going to lead the team to more wins that they had last year because of Kyrie's going to be on the team. And Kyrie might not defer to Cooper Flag like 100% of the time, but you're going to see a lot of them playing off each other, which is going to be nice to see. Their defense is also going to be pretty decent with Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, Max Christie, Cooper Flag. Like they have a good defensive lineup they can run out there. And Kyrie is no slouch on defense anymore. Like, he's not a complete liability. Like, I don't think Kyrie's ever been a complete liability in defense because he actually fights and he actually, like, sits in a chair and, like, you know, like, he tries to fight over screens. He tries to play the passing lanes, get steals. So he's not a bad defender, but he's not great either. But on a team surrounded by good defensive players, and I think Dusty May might be more of a defensive coach, if anything. Or, I don't know. because I didn't really watch Michigan in the tournament because I didn't have them winning anything. My bracket was just god awful. I had Arkansas winning the whole thing, which was a mistake. Uh, and I had BYU, and I basically had my bracket strategy was to know where all the top 5 players in the draft were going to be, and just to pick those teams to make it pretty far. And that's just always you can't always do that, unfortunately. Pelicans. See, the Pelicans piss me off at one because they have a lot of talent, but they're also just not good enough, and their franchise just does like Joe Dumars just does not know what he's doing. There's no way you can say any of these players are untouchable. Like that just doesn't make any sense. And I get it, you're trying to raise the stock of these players, maybe try to get a team to bite and give you more than what they're worth, which good strategy, but the way he's going about it is just wrong, and teams are not going to bite. And a team like the Pistons, where they need Trey Murphy, they're not going to, send over 3 first-round picks for Trey Murphy because they know that's exactly what you want, and they're not going to give you like that satisfaction of, being right and whatnot. And I pray to God a team doesn't just give them whatever for Trey Murphy, because then that's gonna give Joe Dumars the green light to just go crazy and make dumb like they're the reason. Like, I hope you know, Pelicans, you're the reason Kingston Flemings is not on your team. Joe Dumars is the reason Kingston Flemings is not on your team. And granted, he might be disappointing for the Hawks. There's always possibility any player can be disappointing in a draft. But you're just the reason why you don't bring in another draft pick. Joe Dumars. Like, I don't know what he's doing out there. And their floor is lottery pick. Like, they're just going to be... Are we going to expect a full healthy season from the Pelicans? I don't know. Like, I just genuinely don't know. And out of all coaches you were in the running for, Jamal Mosley, like, really? A Magic team that wanted to get rid of Jamal Mosley so bad that they probably blew the 3-1 lead on purpose just so they could get him out of there. I don't think that happened, but that would be insane if that happened. But I would have rather have seen Rajon Rondo as a coach than Jamal Mosley on the Pelicans. I can tell you that. Like they're just moving out there like they're in their own separate world. It's like, and I really want to see a jump from Derek Queen, but I just hope so. I hope we can. See, their ceiling, I wrote this down and now I don't even believe it anymore. I wrote that they could be first on exit, but if they get into the play-in with all those teams in the West, I just don't see them winning 2 play-in games. Like, God forbid they're the 7th or 8th seed. I don't know, man. Like, Zion is good when he plays, but he rarely plays. DeJounte Murray's cool, but he's not the DeJounte Murray we saw with the Spurs anymore. Trey Murphy is probably the only bright spot on the Pelicans because he played 66 games last year and he was really good. I just, like, where's the light at the end of the tunnel for this team? Like, I don't know. Like, obviously health could be a part of their ceiling or their floor. And hopefully, like I said, Jeremiah Fears too. I hope he and Queen take a jump next year because they're going to need it. Because that has to be the light at the end of the tunnel, right? For them to make a jump. Because you're not expecting Jamal Mosley to do anything really different. Zion, you're just praying to God he actually plays games, right? And then, like, if you trade Trey Murphy, hopefully you get a good package. I just don't know where the light at the end of the tunnel is for this team. I don't know. I'm so sorry, Pelicans fans. I feel bad for you. Y'all had Anthony. Y'all went from Chris Paul to Anthony Davis to Brandon Ingram and Zion to Zion and Trey Murphy. Never really competent. The Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers. Uh, I think their floor is first round exit. Um, because I don't think they'll be in the play-in next year. I think Luka's just too good for them to be in the play-in. But we haven't seen Luka healthy in the playoffs as a Laker yet, so there's a possibility that could happen, and he could miss time in the first round, and they could just lose in the first round. Also, their roster is cool, but it ain't like the sexiest roster, you know? Like Luka did get the center he wanted, and they did sign Matisse Thybulle, which is huge because they're gonna need a lot of wing defenders surrounding Luka, and Matisse Thybulle is probably one of the best like wing defenders POAs in the league, so that's really helpful for them. Um, and their depth is kind of questionable though, because like Mamu starting, I don't really like that. Quinn Grimes at the 3, 6'5". Yeah, sure. Will they get the job done? I don't know. Like, I just genuinely don't know. Um, but their ceiling, unfortunately, is not NBA championship because San Antonio, OKC. I just don't see them beating those two. Like I'm saying this like 50 times already, but San Antonio and OKC will meet in the conference finals, and it will not be another team because those two teams will be going head to head in battles like this for the next 3 years minimum. Like also it just depends because like if OKC is like God forbid the third seed, then they would face the Spurs in the second round versus the conference finals, right? 1-8 plays 4-5, 2-7 plays 3-6. Yeah. So if they meet in the second round, that it's possible, I guess, but they're gonna be both top two seeds in the West unless something crazy happens. But I just don't see a world where this Lakers roster can compete with San Antonio OKC. But they do have Luka, so if you have Luka on your roster and he's healthy, I mean, really anything's possible. Um, and Kessler is a lot better than DeAndre Ayton, so like they did get swept by OKC, but God forbid they had Luka and Walker Kessler, they probably would have lost in like 6 games instead of getting swept. And then JJ Redick is still a good coach. I mean, he gets the best out of his players and he gets the best out of the roster that he's given. Like any roster you give him, they're still gonna compete in games. They're not gonna get like absolutely destroyed. Like even against OKC, every at least the first 2 games, actually the first 3 games, they were in it the first half. Like it was a single digit game in the first half, and then they just let the game get away from them because of pure talent at that point. And then the fourth game was super duper close, but I, JJ Redick made his first mistake that series, not putting in Rui Hachimura for the final shot, especially since Hachimura was unconscious the entire game from 3, and you needed 3 to tie the game, and he just wasn't on the court, which is unfortunate. Kings, we can speed through the Kings. Their floor is lottery pick. Their ceiling is lottery pick. Cool. They're not competent. Their franchise sucks. They're always mediocre. They are the Kings. The Warriors. I hate talking about the Warriors because I saw their starting 5 on the Bleacher Report article, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Like, God. The Warriors are on one of those teams that also had a disappointing offseason. Didn't get LeBron James, of course. Didn't really do anything to get better. Re-signed Porzingis, cool. Re-signed Al Horford, cool. They're going to be really old next year. And we don't know if Jimmy Butler's coming back this season at all or Moses Moody. So they're starting Let me read you the starting lineup. Steph Curry, yay. Pods, bleh. Yaxel, mixed feelings. Draymond Green, cool. Porzingis, cool. Healthy Porzingis, cool. But that's not a good starting five at all. I'm so sorry. Curry is gonna have to average 35 for this team to make the play-in. And the worst part is the pods. I just don't like pods as a person and as a player. I just don't like him. Their ceiling is first round exit. God forbid Steph Curry averages like 40 to win them two playing games, getting stomped by guess who? OKC, San Antonio, Wemby, Shea. Draymond is still going to be good defensively, by the way, so that's never going to go away. I think the Warriors are going to be like good, competent enough defense. Like they may not be top 10, but they could be middle of the pack for sure. Porzingis is still an okay defender. Al Horford's still cool defensively, and Draymond, of course. And I think Yaxel has the tools to be a good, really, really good wing defender too. How many teams do I have left? I have the Blazer, or I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams left. All right, the Blazers. Their floor, I think, would be the play-in tournament. I think they just have too many guards that want starting roles, and they might try to sell at least one of those guards. Whether it's Holiday, because the team will definitely want Holiday, a contending team. Like the Heat should try and definitely call for Drew Holiday for sure. Like I think the Heat would be a top destination for Drew Holiday. Um, yeah, Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, all three of those guys are not even going to be in the starting lineup because they're going to start Dame and Ja in the backcourt, which defensively is going to be nasty. And Denny too. Oh my God, Tumani and Klingon have to carry that defense so hard. Um, and yeah, we don't know what Ja's gonna look like on this team, and we don't know what Dame's gonna look like coming off the Achilles. So, question marks. If all those question marks are answered, and they're fully healthy, their ceiling could be a really competitive first round. Now, I put this differently than just first round exit because the Warriors would get curb stomped. Any team that's like in the lower seed that I've mentioned so far would probably get curb stomped. But the Blazers are a really interesting team because they made it competitive against the Spurs, even though they lost in 5 games. They made it really competitive, and they're only going to be adding more talent. So, like, if you're telling me like the Blazers against OKC first round series could go 6 games. OKC in 6, obviously. Against Spurs could go 6 games. OKC in 6. Dame is just well, I just said I don't know what Dame is gonna be. But the potential of Dame is enough to where you can squint your eyes and maybe see the Blazers squeaking out a couple wins in the first round. And they just have a lot of experience too, whether it's Dame, Drew Holiday, even John Morant has some playoff experience. So does Danny, I guess now. So even the young guys on their team, they're gonna be all right. Dame time, big key for them. Come playoff time. Wolves. Wolves are interesting because their floor is for me is first round exit. I think if they were to let's say they faced the Nuggets in the first round again and somehow the Nuggets locked in, they could bounce the Wolves out. Like it could just go back and forth with those two teams. They can knock each other out every year in the playoffs. Um, if the Wolves face the Lakers, I would choose the Wolves, but it's not a realm possibility the Lakers could win just because they have Luka. And the lack of size the Wolves have outside of Rudy Gobert is just very alarming. Like I don't like Isle starting at the 3 and McDaniel starting at the 4. Like that idea just scares me, especially in against like the Spurs, the Nuggets with Jokic. Like the thing about the Wolves was, yeah, Rudy Gobert stopped Jokic, but they also had Julius Randle and Naz Reid to also cause havoc as well. So it just wasn't on Rudy Gobert one on one for the entire series. Now they don't have that. Like if Rudy Gobert gets cooked, which is very possible against Jokic, then they're just cooked. Um, and would you put like if God forbid Aaron Gordon plays, that would be the Jaden McDaniels assignment, and now Jamal Murray goes free and has unlimited like space to work with, so that's just not good either. And we just have to see what the LaMelo and Ant's chemistry backcourt looks like. But it'll be good though. I assume it'll be good. And their depth, yeah, coming off that bench, they don't really have anybody. Like I can look up. Hold on, let me look up Wolves depth chart. I know they have um Minnesota Timberwolves depth chart. Oh my god, it's actually so bad. Holy shit. Bro, their bench is going to be Isaiah Evans, who they just drafted, Terrence Shannon Jr., and Enrique Freeman, and Bones Highland. Oh my god, this bench is ass. Like, generationally ass. Holy shit. I didn't know it was this bad. I knew they had Bones Highland, and Isaiah Evans they just drafted for the wing position, and Terrence Shannon Jr. is still there. But my god, this bench is so bad. Like, God forbid LaMelo or Ant comes out, they're gonna get cooked, bro. Their bench unit is actually gonna be like get cooked. Holy shit! I might have to adjust this actually. No, I don't adjust it at all because this is exactly what their floor would be first one exit just off based off this depth alone. Like this is bad, bad. Um, but their ceiling with their ceiling with LaMelo Ball now, and Rudy Gobert can still anchor a top 10 defense. They could make the conference finals. Not a realm possibility they could beat San Antonio OKC in a second round series. Like, the odds of them doing it would be like 30% to the 70% of either OKC or San Antonio winning, but those odds could shift immensely depending on what type of LaMelo Ball we get in the playoffs. Like if he's just straight up dominating in the playoffs next to Ant, that'd be dangerous for any team. And Chris Finch is still a good coach too. Still a really good coach. All right, Spurs. Their floor, conference finals loss. And the only reason I could see them losing in conference finals is either by OKC or a scorching hot West team like the Wolves, or let's say the Lakers somehow are just clicking on all cylinders and Luka's in the center of that, sure. Or the Nuggets, where they look like the 2023 Nuggets and they just completely dominate. And the Spurs' late game execution needs a lot of work too. Saw this in the finals, saw this throughout the playoffs. In close games, they just did not do well. Which is weird because Fox was a clutch player of the year like 2 or 3 years ago. And Wemby is just so tall that you just give him the ball and he can really do anything. But it hasn't worked that way. So they need to figure out their late game execution. I think it'll be better because they learned from the Knicks series that you can't just start out the game like up by 15 and expect to win just based off that. Like you have to play the full 48 minutes. Ceiling, raising that Larry O'Brien. Wemby first ring would go kind of hard, even though I hate Wemby. Second year Harper is gonna be really good. I could see in the playoffs where De'Aaron Fox just gets benched down the stretch. Like there would be no hesitation anymore, even during the regular season. Mitch Johnson was hesitant to do that. I don't think he'll be hesitant to do that anymore because Dylan Harper is just that good. And the addition of Tobias Harris too, really big addition. Size, creation, defense. Like, he was probably the missing piece you probably needed to guard a guy like Cat, because Wemby can't guard him on the perimeter, but Tobias Harris can. OKC, they're in the same situation. Their floor, conference finals loss. Spurs, they by the Spurs or another scorching hot West team, like I just mentioned. They did lose some key guys. They lost Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and who else did they lose? Oh, that's about it. Lou Dort was probably the most impactful out of all those three, so they lose him. Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe were big on the 2025 Thunder when they won the championship, but weren't big last year, unfortunately, down the stretch and into the playoffs. And their floor could be basically if Chet doesn't grow any balls, like grow some balls, Chet. Face up on Wemby. Be who you are and don't defer. Yes, Shea's the clear-cut best player on the team, but he just needs you to be who you are and not a ghost version of yourself. Ceiling, raising the Larry O'Brien trophy. Shea could win another MVP this year. J-Dub, if he's healthy, they might be better than the Spurs. Like, if J-Dub's fully healthy, like, they could just be better than the Spurs. And yeah, if Chet actually grows some balls and actually faces Wemby, then yeah, they can win the Larry O'Brien trophy. Grizzlies, their floor would be right outside the play-in, I think. I don't think they'll be a lottery pick team. I think they have too much talent on the roster to be a lottery pick team. They do have a lot of young players though, and their coaching is in question. Tomas Isolo, I can't really gauge what kind of coach he's gonna be with an actual competent roster. Just not sure. Their ceiling could be like 1 or 2 play-on wins, and then they'd probably get spanked in the first round, like many other teams. It's not their fault. They have a lot of talent in both units. People quickly forget how good Ty Jerome was when he played last year and the year before when he was on the Cavs. He's still really good. Cam Boozer, obviously. Zach Edey, fully healthy year, hopefully. Hopefully. Then you got Jeremy Grant coming off the bench. You got they still have Jalen Wells, Cedric Howard. Who else am I missing? I feel like I'm missing somebody else. I might be missing somebody else, but Scottie Pippen Jr. too. Yeah, they're gonna be okay. They're gonna be a really fun, young, exciting team for sure. And then finally, the last team on the list, and then we can get out of here. The Clippers. Now they're a TBD. Kawhi, of course, but let's just assume Kawhi is on the Raptors. Their floor could be playing. They still have some talent. They still have all-stars on their team. They still have Darius Garland. They still have Ingram, who was an all-star last year. And they did lose Kawhi and replace him with Brandon Ingram. So, like, that's a loss for sure. And they still have a young talent. Keaton Wagler is still young. Darius Garland is still young. He's only like 26, 27. And Brook Lopez is old. So there's that. Hopefully Brook Lopez, not hopefully because I'm not hoping that he retires, but I would assume this could be Brook Lopez's last year. And their ceiling, like any other West team, first round exit. Ingram, still was an all-star, and he's still good, but I just don't know how much he can lead a team to being like competent. And you do get a full year of Darius Garland. Last year you traded for him at the trade deadline, so now you have a full year of Darius Garland. And Ty Lue's still a good coach. Whatever you want to say about the Clippers, Ty Lue's still gonna have them somewhat competitive in the West. Are they gonna be like competitive like they were last year, where they turned their whole season around after being 6-21 to being 42 wins? Probably not. They're probably gonna be around like the to 40 win range, and I don't really see him doing anything with that. But yeah, this is all assuming Kawhi's off the team though, um, which hopefully they resolve that, because the fact that they're saying that can go into 2027, I think that's just delaying too much. They're doing too much with that. But yeah, those are the floors and ceilings for every Western Conference team. I also want to end the episode by saying I may have some exciting news come next month. Actually, closer to September. Actually, closer. No. October is when the news will officially be out, because that's when the NBA schedule comes out. But I do have exciting news regarding the YouTube channel and this podcast and everything in between. And yeah, some good news is coming. Whether it's fully what I expect to happen, no. But the worst case scenario for this news is still good news. So yeah, I'm excited to share that with you guys. So stay tuned. I'm There's a lot of things happening in the background that are going to be really exciting once the NBA season starts. Like literally once the NBA season starts, oh my god, you're going to want to tune into this podcast for sure, because I have a lot of plans, a lot of things in the works, and just exciting times. And hopefully this turns into a full-time job. Maybe not this podcast, but like, this whole NBA basketball thing turns into a full-time job. That's the goal. Because I am in my last year of college and I need some sort of path to make money. And actually, if everything goes right with the news that I have, may just be a full-time job. So we'll see. But yeah, wow. I just know a lot of these like moments where I stumble, and people are gonna be like, "Well, Tyler, you just need to learn how to talk," and you're absolutely right. But I'm going to end the episode here. Hopefully, you guys enjoy your week. I will see you guys next week with another episode. It will be jam packed like this one for sure. And yeah, peace.